today. Today we're going to be making a set of easy beginner Easter cookies. So this is what we call our Easy Dozen series. And it's going to be a set of easy Easter cookies that anyone can make, even if you're just getting started with royal icing, even if you're just getting started with cookie decorating, anyone can make these, and they're super cute and super fun. So my computer is giving me a little note here. Let me just dismiss that so I can see your comments. There we go. Okay. I see we've got one watching. We've got a couple more coming on. Welcome, welcome. Again, we're making an easy Easter set today. I wanted to take y'all through a little bit of my planning process with cookies, because in the group, if you're not in the free cookie decorating group, Cookie Confidence, you need to get in there because it's a great community of ladies who are learning to decorate cookies together. And a couple of gentlemen who are supporting ladies and learning cookie decorating themselves, so that's nice. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the planning and kind of, I guess you could call it conceptualizing a cookie design, because cookie decorating is kind of a layering art. There are certain steps that have to be completed before you complete the next step. And when I first started, I remember this being really confusing for me. I would take all this time trying to think about what needs to go first, what needs to go next. And it does come with time to a certain extent, but I just wanted to kind of walk you through. Today I'm doing 12 designs, which unless I were doing it for this live video, I would normally never do a set with 12 different designs. Normally, if I'm doing a dozen cookies, I would do 3 to 4 different designs in that set and just repeat them 3 to 4 times, depending on how many I had. And for today's designs, I just went through and thought about some of the different colors I was going to be using. I thought about some of the things I wanted to show you, some of the colors and cutters that I had, and I just listed out all the designs that I wanted to do. And then I was thinking about what I needed to get done beforehand so that I could show you these different designs and have the different steps done. So there were a couple of things that had to dry a little while beforehand, and I just went through and kind of put a star by the things that were going to need to dry first. So with each design, just kind of picture it in your head, think about what needs to be done first, and watching cookie decorating videos will really help you get the hang of that process. Just practicing and doing it on a more frequent basis will really help you get the hang of that process, and you'll kind of start getting better and better at planning. For me, I just use a simple notebook. I have a list of my designs that I'm doing today, and normally I would come under here and I would list out, like, I'm going to do 4 or 5 eggs, or I'm going to do 3 carrots, or 4 bunny faces, or however many you're going to do of each, and the colors that you're going to do, just in the process of kind of like planning. That helps me. So I just thought I'd share that as we got started, in case that's helpful to anyone who is learning to plan out their cookie designs and think about it in terms of layering. I got my buttercups today, y'all. Y'all know I love spring so much. It is like my favorite time of year. I love Christmas because it's the cookie holiday. I love holidays where I get to make cookies, but spring is my thing. It's my favorite time of year. It is my favorite type of cookie to make, spring cookies, because I get to play in flowers and all these beautiful bright colors that we're working with today. So I found these close to my mom and dad's place this morning when I went to drop off Miles and Noah. I came down the road and there were these beautiful buttercups blooming, and I said, do you think anyone would care if I stopped to pick some buttercups? And my mom said, no, I don't think so. And so I just had to include them in the live today because they're so pretty and bright, and I'm just going to hold them up where y'all can see them a little bit better. And of course, we have to make a buttercup cookie today. I've got a buttercup cookie made up, ready to show y'all. And so with that, I'm going to get started. I'm going to have to do this horrible thing where we move the camera around so that it's facing the table and you can see. I apologize. I'm looking into something to set me up where I can change camera angles without. So just bear with me until I get that all set up and until I get us Okay, here we go. Almost there. Just kidding. Here we go. I'll edit this part out for YouTube. Y'all are going to get to see my tea and my buttercups really well. I've got my webcam set up so that it's kind of attached to another piece of equipment, my Archon mount. And if anyone is a cookie decorator, you know the joys of the Archon mount. They are so nice. They're really helpful to have around. Okay, here we go. I did not realize my webcam was going to slide around quite so much. It's kind of, in testing this morning, it didn't do that, but of course, during the live event, it's going to want to give me some grief, so. All right, there we go. I think that's where we can see now. Maybe. Nope. I moved the cord out of the way, and it caused an issue. Okay, here we go. And we're good, I think. Okay. We're calling that good. Yeah. I think y'all can see just fine now. We are going to start with one of these adorable little bunny tail cookies that we're going to be doing in our Easter local class. So it starts with a regular bunny face, and you probably have a cutter that looks like this if you have like a basic set of cookie cutters. So this is just like the bunny with the ears, and what we're going to do with this is turn it upside down. Y'all can probably hear like cats out on my back porch. I've got a boy cat who keeps coming out of the woods and being mean to the stray cat that came up to our house, which I guess is kind of our cat now. But if you hear any cat fighting sounds, that's what they are. They're on the back deck trying to be mean to each other. But anyway, this is going to become bunny feet. So the ears are now going to be the feet, and the round part is now going to be the bunny's little tail. So we're going to take some white flood consistency icing and come up and around. I told y'all they're mad at each other. Did y'all hear that? And we're just going to flood this little tail zone. So when you're flooding, you want to squeeze the bag tighter than you would when you're piping. And lots of people ask me, how do you pipe and flood with one consistency? And that's by using a 20-second consistency icing. We're going to be doing a icing consistency workshop tomorrow night at 5:30. There's still time to register for that if you want to. You can go to my website, sarahgracecookieco.com. But we'll be learning all about that 20-second consistency. It's thick enough that you can pipe the outside and flood the inside with that same consistency. It's really nice to not have to do a million different types of bags and a million different consistencies. So there is the bunny's little booty, I guess you could say. And we're going to set that aside and allow it to crust. Now, I've already got one that we've completed that step on. So this has been crusting since about 10, 11 o'clock this morning. It's had a chance to dry a little bit. And so we're going to go back and add the feet. Now, people have asked me, do I need to pipe around parts that already have icing? So you can see here there's already icing. You don't have to pipe that again. Just come around the edge of the foot here and do your line of piping. And then for the rest of the shape where the feet are, you can just increase your pressure and flood there on the inside of the little foot. Now don't make it too thick because we are going to go in with some pink and make the little paw prints of the bunny feet. I guess you can call it paw prints. Bunny feet are paws, right? Sure, we're going with it. Y'all tell me, have y'all bought your Easter outfits yet for yourself or your family? I have yet to buy any Easter outfits. Miles and Noah have a couple really cute little pastel shirts that I think I'm going to put on them this year for Easter. But I have not bought a dress to go with it. I may end up wearing one that I've already got even. So y'all let me know if you've bought anything yet, if you're ahead of me and ahead of the game. Okay. I have not bought a dress to go with it. There we go. So I'm going to make the little bunny feet by making a long pink oval in the center. That's going to be like the sole of its foot. And I'm going to do that on either side. And we're just applying wet icing on top of wet icing. This is called the wet on wet technique. Most of you probably already know that, but I just like to reiterate it in case you're just getting started and you want to know more about that. And I'm going to do 3 little dots to kind of serve as the toe prints, I guess you could call them. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Shelly. All right, I'm going to clean up this edge just a little bit because one of our feet was trying to creep on us a bit. Can y'all see that okay? I feel like this webcam just isn't picking it up quite as well as my phone does. But if I hold it up a little closer, I think you can see pretty well. Those are the bunny feet. We've got those complete, and now we're going to go ahead and add the little tail. So you can just do a big squeeze to make the bunny tail. And if you have like some white nonpareils or some cute little sprinkles or something that you want to use to make the tail really cute, go for it. I'm just doing a plain little white cotton tail to make the bunny tail. Okay, that is our first cookie. And now we are going to move to the geode egg. So we're going to do an egg that looks like a geode. This one is going to be kind of different, I guess, but it's really pretty. And I love anything like from nature. I think the things that come from nature are the most beautiful on cookies or art or anything really. So geodes, flowers, all that's my jam. So I'm just popping a little bit of icing on here and straighten it out with my scribe. I'm not sure what this thing is. I'm calling it a scribe tool, but I found it at Hobby Lobby. I think they called it a fondant needle, but I'm using it as a scribe. I'm rolling with it. It works well. And I'm going to take some turbinado sugar, I think is what this is called. Yes, turbinado cane sugar. This came from Walmart, and it's called turbinado cane sugar. It's really thick and like these big crystals, so it's great for making these geodes. You can do this with rock candy. That's, I think, what most people use. But I didn't have rock candy at the house, and I wanted to make this really pretty geode effect. And then I actually found that this kind of natural brown color that the cane sugar has looks more like rock to me, and I really like it. Here we go. And I love subtle muted colors that look different. I'm not a big fan of the traditional super bright colors that you find in food coloring. I like to mute those down a bit with some browns and blacks and other neutrals. So these kind of brown neutral I guess you could say they're like crystals. It's sugar, but it's meant to look like crystals. And I underbake these cookies because I'm probably going to serve them to my family and eat them myself. And I love some slightly underbaked cookies. If y'all see a little grease spot on the bottom, don't worry. It's not going to a customer. Just for the family. Okay, so now that we have got those crystals applied, I'm going to grab my food coloring and lemon extract mix. And I showed y'all in the last video that I did at Valentine's Day how I mix lemon extract and food coloring to make like a edible paint. And I'm just going to go down the middle with that. And my lemon extract has faded just a bit. It's absorbed back into my water, but it's okay. We can still make a pretty look. Okay. On the last one that I did, I let this dry just a bit more before adding the edible paint, and it went a lot better. So that's my recommendation to you. Add the edible paint after the icing that you have applied and the crystals have dried just a bit. So I have one ready, and I'll let you see kind of how that goes on after it's dried. Goes on a lot better. And now that that's dry, I went ahead and flooded around the edge of that crystal geode shape. And now I'm going to paint it with just a little bit of gold luster dust. So I've got some Home Here edible gold luster dust and some lemon extract mixed in. And I'm just going to line the edge of that geode shape. I love the Home Here luster dust. You can buy it on Amazon. I haven't really tried a lot of luster dust. Y'all tell me if y'all have found one that's just absolutely magical. This one has worked really well for me. I've used it pretty much since I started cookie decorating, and it's been really good. I've not had any major problems with it. It does rub off on the inside of the cellophane bags that I use to package my cookies sometimes, but I've heard that you can brush your cookies with cornstarch and you won't have that problem. So I need to try that next time I package something like this. And I think I'm going to take this gold down to the bottom here as well. Yeah. And that is how you make a cute little geode egg. Now I think just a big old bunch of these, maybe a dozen of these, would be so cute at an Easter table. You could do different colors for the geode shape. You could do different colors for the egg. You could even do like some decoration on the egg portion. Maybe do like some wet on wet or some watercolor. I think that would be really pretty. Hi, Sandy. Okay, next we're going to make an ombre carrot. Have y'all ever seen an ombre carrot in nature? Me either, but we're going to make one in cookie form today. So we're going to move light to dark. So we're going to do the light at the top and the dark at the bottom. So I'm going to start with some light yellow flood consistency that I've got here. And just kind of lay down a little bit up here at the top. I'm not doing much of this yellow because I am using the orange. I want it to be mostly orange. And then I'm going to move to this kind of peachy orange. I just mixed two different tones of orange so that I would have a little bit to fade. So I'm going to flood about a third, maybe 2/3 of the way down on my carrot and fill that in. Don't stress about the flood or the pipe being perfect at this point. We're going to smooth it all out and fill it all in later. Now I'm going to cover the rest with the orange. This is a brighter orange. And now we're going to blend. Ooh. So we're taking it from the bottom up to the top. So I'm kind of moving my darker icing up here with the lighter icing and just stirring it together. And I'm going to do the same with the top, and it all kind of blends together to make this, it's not really one color, but it's just kind of a cool, I don't know if you can call that psychedelic, but yeah, kind of psychedelic carrot. Now I'm going to grab my green. I've got a thick green consistency today, and I'm going to cut that just across the top. I'm going to do a circle cut for this. You can cut your leaves if you want to make some really distinct leaf shapes. You can cut in a V at the top of your bag, but I'm going to show you how I did the ones that I made for my spring or Easter pre-sale this year. So I started by doing a big squeeze up here at the top and then kind of just bringing it down. And I did that for all of the little leaf spots. Just a big squeeze and bring it down. And that makes the little leaves on the carrot. I think that one's so cute. I love just a little something different to give it some dimension and some texture. Hey Carol, hey Michelle. All right, y'all, next we are moving on to our carrot that is going to have some little distinct sections. I think a lot of people have made this one before or have seen it made. It's really simple, but I think it's super cute too. So you start out by making a section up at the top, and the key to getting this puffy look where you have those distinct sections is to not let them touch each other. Carol says that's what I'm working on right now. Yeah, this is a pretty popular one. That's good to hear, Carol. So we don't want those sections to touch. If they touch before they dry, they will flow together, and we want that nice distinct look. So I'm doing those two separate little sections. And my special trick with this type of carrot is I like to add a little bit of white flood icing here as well, just to give it a little catch light. Now I've got one where I've already done the first two sections. Gonna pop that out, and now that they're crusted, you can see I can kind of run my finger along here and it won't dent the icing. Now if I were to just poke it, it would cause a big dent in it because it's only been crusting for less than an hour. But it's crusted enough that I can make that pretty distinct look on it. So I'm going to fill in these next two sections. Can y'all hear these cats outside my door? I'm worried about them disturbing y'all. But I don't want to be rude and go run cats off during the middle of a live video. So y'all let me know if you can hear them and if they're bothering you. I was telling them earlier, hey Nancy, if you're just joining, I was telling everyone earlier, we have got we live out like in the middle of nowhere. Carol says, yep. These guys are loud. We live out in the middle of nowhere, and some cats have come out from the woods, and like there's one on my back deck right now who is harassing the boy cat who lives here, and they are just making some loud racket. Okay, so we did those other two sections just like we did the first two. And then we're going to add our leaves just as we did with the first carrot. So to get these leaf shapes, you're just going to do a big squeeze up at the top and then kind of bring it down, squeezing just slightly less. Hey, Carlene. There we go. Alrighty. Whoops. I got a little scoop out of that one. I had lots of carrot ideas for this live video today. Apparently I had carrots on the brain. Carol says I have a terrible time getting the correct colors. It's hard at first. I have a freebie on my website, Carol, that you might like. It's called, I think it's called Royal Icing Color Mixing or something. And I'll link that to you in the comments when we finish up here. I'll send you a link. So next we're going to do our buttercup. I think the cats have quieted for the time being. Y'all are like this country girl in Tennessee talking about her cats and decorating cookies. So I'm taking, anyway, moving on. I'm taking my pale yellow flood consistency, and I've got a flower here. This is just a pretty basic flower cutter, but it's more of a sunflower shape. It has these long petals, and this is going to be the top view of a buttercup. So we're going to flood the base with this light yellow. This is like a buttery yellow. I just did, Carol and I were just talking about color mixing, if y'all are just joining. I mixed in some, just like a 1-2 ounce ice cream scoop of white food coloring straight from the mixer and did 1 drop of yellow for this. And to get this slightly muted yellow tone, I added a few teeny tiny drops or splashes, like not even enough to be the size of the head of a straight pen, of the color brown, chocolate brown from Americolor. And that just gives it this little bit of a muted, slightly creamy look, I think. And I really like the way that looks. It just kind of differentiates it from straight out of the bottle food coloring colors. And I really like adding some kind of neutral in with whatever color I'm doing. So if I'm doing a pink, well, usually if I'm doing any of the warm colors, I'll add a brown or maybe even a little bit of white food coloring. And if I'm doing a cool color like blue or purple, I'll add in a bit of black to kind of mute it, but also allow it to stay that pure cool color. I hope that's helpful and not just confusing. You're welcome, Carol. Okay, y'all, I have got some white that is going on each petal. This is the flood consistency white, and this is just a little bit of wet on wet on each petal to kind of give it a highlight. You know, when you look at daffodils or buttercups, let's just bring those out right quick so that we can see them. When you look at these, you can see the petals are almost sort of transparent. I'll leave those in the frame a bit because they're just pretty. You can see that they're almost transparent and they have that little bit of dimension. So I like to incorporate a little bit of extra light, another color somehow, and it just really brings those cookies to life. Oh, Carol said I wanted light yellow and I got lemon. I've been there before too. Sometimes mixing in white food coloring or mixing in more white icing that you've made earlier will help, but sometimes it's just you need to find a use for your lemon and remix. I've been in that boat before too. I know it well. So for our next portion, I've got a cookie made where I've already done the flood on the base. And now I'm pulling out my petal tip. I've got my buttery bright yellow fitted with a small petal tip attachment. Trying to get it close enough where y'all can see, but it'll focus. This webcam is not focusing worth flip. Here we go. And so I'm just going to make my buttercup by kind of popping some petal shapes in the center. And I like mine to be really kind of flouncy and lacy, so I give it a little jiggle as I'm turning. And that makes one layer of the buttercup. And then I like to do like a couple little stamen or pull-ups or something in the center. And that is your buttercup flower cookie. I love this one. I think it turns out so cute. Nancy said happens to me also. I think so many cookie decorating things that happen to us are pretty common, and that's why it's nice to have a group of ladies to talk to when you have something come up. There may be a solution or there may just be an opportunity to vent. Either way, it's a good thing to have. Cynthia says so pretty. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. Now we're going to do a carrot with some bunny bites taken out of it. So this is the carrot that the Easter Bunny has already got a hold of. So I'm going to start by making this little bite mark shape along the side. I think that looks like teeth. It's just kind of 3 bumps, and then I'm going to do another one on the other side. 3 bumps. I keep finding apples laying about the house that Miles and Noah have gotten a hold of. They are obsessed with apples right now, which I'm so glad. That's a good thing for them to like. They're pretty healthy in the scheme of things. But it's hilarious to walk around the house and find these apples with teeny tiny little teeth prints in them where the boys have got a hold of them. And they'll eat most of an apple or half of an apple, or sometimes it's just a bite out of an apple. But the little tiny teeth prints are what are so funny and cute. So I'm just leaving this space open, and then I'm going to go in and flood and bring it together, kind of adjust it with the scribe tool. There we go. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Aline. And then I'm going to add a little highlight because y'all know I love a good highlight. The light's coming from the other side of this carrot. I'm going to put our buttercups back in the frame too. So pretty. And it's spring. I just feel like my whole mood changes when spring comes around. Are y'all that way? I get like just unmotivated and down during the wintertime sometimes. And it's so nice when spring comes around because it's like the whole world wakes up, all the flowers and the leaves wake up, and I feel like my mood just gets so much better. I asked Kane the other day if he felt like he was married to a different person during springtime. All right, there is our little carrot with the bunny bites taken out. I think that one's super cute. If you're going to be doing a set with maybe a bunny or 2 in it, do some carrots that already have some bites taken out. That way it looks like your bunny has been snacking. Next, we are going to work on our egg Easter basket. Cynthia said, yes, ma'am, spring refreshes me mentally and spiritually. Girl, I was just thinking the same thing this morning. It is like a spiritual refreshing when you see everything coming back. Well, and Easter is all about Jesus rising, and the world kind of rises back up during Easter. We may have to start doing like a little devotional in our group or something. That would be fun. Y'all let me know if you would like that. So I'm going to start by coming about a little more than halfway down this egg. And I'm going to make a curved line, and this is going to be the bottom of my basket. So we're going to take an egg shape and make it into an Easter basket. This is a thick piping consistency brown. And this is going to be one of those really pretty grapevine baskets that you see at Hobby Lobby, because we're just going to kind of weave it over itself. We're not going to do a fancy basket weave or anything like that. We're just going to do super simple texture. That's the main thing, is just that it has a pretty texture and it looks like a basket. And I think it does. Might go up the side there. Kind of. Yeah. There we go. Now we're going to take our handle and go up the sides to create the handle of the basket. And I'm going to kind of weave in some texture with that too. You can get creative here. You could just do like a big, long, thick pipe, but I like kind of a woven grapevine looking Easter basket. I think they're so pretty. You could even take, I'm loving edible moss right now. Have y'all seen that edible moss where you take a cookie and grate it up with like a lemon zester and add powdered green food coloring and it makes this beautiful edible moss? I'm obsessed with that right now. And I think that would be really pretty kind of placed around the sides. So in this Easter basket, we are going to place some Easter eggs. So I'm just going to take each of my colors and kind of alternate them about. I'm also going to do some Easter grass kind of coming out and about and around the sides. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to give it some color. I'm going to grab my yellow as well. I think we can call that an egg shape. Yeah. Just kind of doing some random squeezes all around to make those little Easter egg shapes. I'm going to open up some hot pink that we're going to be using later. Make some eggs with that. And this would probably be better if I would allow it to dry just a bit more, but y'all know I'm not known for my patience, so I think I'm going to add some white in there too. A few little white eggs. Probably should have done more than one orange one, but we'll go back and add them in. Okay, there we go. That is a simple way to make an Easter basket without buying an Easter basket cookie cutter. If you have an egg cookie cutter, you can make an Easter basket cookie. You could even do a crackle on this when you put it in the oven by painting it with white or like white mixed with another color, and you could do a background here. You could paint over it with a little bit of flood consistency royal icing so that you don't have naked cookie showing, but I kind of like it. I think it looks cute. I'm a fan of the naked cookie. I think it's pretty, and you could even make these little pink ones flowers by adding some yellow in the middle. If you wanted to go back after these have dried and add some little petals with a marker or something, I think that would be super cute. Carol says cute. Thank you, Carol. All right, next, so we already did our buttercup, so I'm going to show y'all the ombre egg now. This is the same ombre technique, except we're just going to do it with an egg. So I'm starting with the white at the top of this one because it's going to be an ombre pink egg. I'm going to come back down about a third of the way, pop around the edge, and squeeze tight to flood. Then I'm going to grab my lighter pink. I'm going to cover the middle third of the egg. I'm not being super neat with this. I'm just kind of getting it on there because we are just going to blend all this together. And then I'm going to come down with the bottom third of my egg. So we've got these three colors laid out in little stripes, and we're just going to blend those together. So I kind of blend each section separately to make it fill in the space, and then I go back and blend them together. Carol says, how thick are your cookies? My cookies are about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. I like mine to be about the width of a cake dowel. So I have these cake dowels that I buy at Walmart, and that's what I use to measure my thickness when I'm rolling out my dough. I'll place a cake dowel on either side of the dough as I'm rolling between the parchment paper and the Steel Pat mat or the silicone baking mat, and it just makes it so much easier. I like my cookies a little bit thick. I like my icing thick. I like my cookies thick. Do y'all like your cookies thick or thin? Do you prefer a lot of cookie or a little cookie and a lot of icing? Or a lot of cookie and a little icing? Or a lot of both? Carol says mine are 3/8 and I feel like they are a little too thick. You might try the cake dowel trick, Carol. It works pretty well. Or you could just find like a, I felt like when I used paint sticks, I used to use paint sticks for my method of measuring. And I felt like they were just a bit too thin. I felt like it was almost like eating a cracker. But I feel like 3/8, yeah, I agree with you. That might be, I haven't tried mine that thick before, but yeah, I see where that could be pretty thick. Sounds good though. When you got a good cookie recipe, you want to eat a lot of it. So that is our ombre egg. I've just kind of blended those colors together to make them fade upward and fade into that pink. Alice says she prefers very little icing to cookie. I like that. Carol, what is a Joseph roller? I've never heard of that. Carol says I use the Joseph roller. I want to try one of those. Are they the kind with the things on the side that you can adjust and then roll? When I was I got used to using the cake dowels because I was making such huge batches. The Joseph roller, I think if that's the one you're talking about, it would have made lines on those really big batches. But since I'm not making huge batches anymore, that might be nice. So next we're going to be making a little bunny peeking through an egg. So to make the portion where he's going to be peeking, we are going to start with a little bit of this peachy color. Cynthia says she uses the Joseph roller too. Oh yeah, it's the one with the rings on the sides. Yeah, I'm going to try one of those. My mom had one just before I started cookie decorating, and it was so funny. I had kind of been looking at Pinterest and coming into this cookie obsession for a couple of weeks and hadn't really said anything about it. And then I told my mom, hey, I'm going to try cookie decorating. And she tried my first set of cookies, and we were all excited about it. But about a week, 2 weeks prior to that, she had sold her, she had a Joseph roller too that she had found at TJ Maxx for a great price. And she had sold it on Facebook Marketplace to one of our friends. And she said, oh, I wish I hadn't sold that now. But that was back when I was making custom orders and having like huge batches of dough where it would have made marks on the dough I was making anyway. So it worked out fine, but it was pretty funny. Okay, so I've made my egg shape. I really didn't talk y'all through that one much. Sorry, I was in the middle of a story. I get carried away talking sometimes. Do y'all ever do that? Surely not. So I've just left like a little jagged edge along the middle of this egg. And I'm going to go back in with my white flood and add some polka dots. You could decorate this however you wanted to. It wouldn't have to be polka dots specifically. It could be any design you want, but I think a little wet on wet here, some kind of design makes it look really cute and special. And I went in with a few yellow dots, but I'm going to do some pink on this one just for fun. And I'm using my left hand, so there's no telling how that's going to turn out. There we go. Hey, Stephanie. All right, so that is the first step, and I have another one here that I have allowed to dry, and I think I want to try some gold on the edge of this. You wouldn't have to do the gold, but I think it would be kind of pretty. Oh, well, apparently my lemon extract has evaporated, but I think it'll still be cute. I'm just going to kind of dust it. I had all of it laid out and didn't have my lemon extract next to me. Matter of fact, I'm just going to grab some. Hey, Chloe. almond extract now so we can do a little bit of the gold lining on there. I think that'll be really cute. So we can paint over that background with a little bit of gold. Okay, so Alice says, are you using different consistency icing for these different looks? And on this particular cookie, I just used flood consistency icing. So all of this that I just used on the egg cookie, just now when I made that first few steps, that's all flood consistency or 20-second icing. I've got a video on my YouTube channel with a little bit more information on icing consistency and what you're looking for when you're mixing icing consistency, so that might be a fun one to check out. But really the green for the flowers that I was doing, the white that I had earlier making eggs, and the brown that I used for the basket earlier, those have been the only ones that are a thick pipe consistency that kind of make that more stand-up look. The base layer, Alice said she was asking about the base layer. Most of the time the base layer for me is going to be a flood consistency, and that's that 20-second that you can use for piping and flooding. So I've got my little ridge of my egg painted with gold, and now I'm going to make the bunny hands. The hands are going to kind of be reaching out of it like this, like they're peeking through the egg, because Easter bunnies come from eggs, right? Sure. So I'm just going to do a really big squeeze and make a little bunny paw. Okay, that's a bunny paw. And then 3 more big squeezes to make another bunny paw. And those are the 2 bunny paws kind of sticking out of the egg. You could take it a step further and you could do some little, like, have y'all seen those eye sprinkles where it looks like 2 eyes, like the googly eyes? Or you could make some eyes in here yourself with icing. Just get creative with it. You could even, if you wanted to be really fancy, which I think I might do right now because that idea just came to me, you could make some flowers popping out of your eggs. And you could add little centers to the flowers and add some leaves next to them, and it would look like you had a little blooming egg. So, bunny paws, flowers, whatever you feel led to make. I just think something popping out of the crack in the egg is so cute. Oh, Carol says, what is the gold you're using? This is called Home Here, and I don't think I've got the label on it still. I think the label was on the lid, maybe. But this is Home Here. It's from Amazon. You can find it by typing in edible gold luster dust, and it'll be one of the first ones that pop up. I can also drop a link in the comments. It's really good. I've never had any trouble with it. I mix it with lemon extract, and it works extremely well. I've got a little bit more about it in that new beginner luster dust and beginner watercolor class that just went up in the academy. I think y'all would really like that. So next we have this little egg that I've already decorated, and I'm just going to show you some really simple, since we've already got this daffodil color yellow out. I'm going to show you how to do a really simple flower to go on the edge. I'm going to start with green, and I'm going to make a few little leaves. So you just squeeze and pull back to make these cute little teardrop leaves. And then kind of come at an angle like you're making a Y and squeeze and pull back. And that'll make these cute little vine type shapes. I think these look so good around flowers. They really give it a like a different dimension sort of. Then you're going to take your petal tip and you're just going to do one turn and place it down, another turn and place it down, and then just continue that all around to make your flower. The most difficult part of flowers, I think, for any cookie decorator is getting the consistency right. The consistency is the hardest part of flowers. And we'll talk about that some more in our flower decorating class that we're doing tomorrow night. But you want to pull it straight from the mixer, and you want to make sure that it's fresh, because if you let it set for a day or two and you allow it to kind of have time to break down, or sometimes icing likes to separate if it has a day or two to see it, and that will not make pretty flowers. It will make disappointing flowers. I've been there and I thought, well, it won't hurt to use it even after it's been made for a day or two. It'll be fine. It was not fine. Using it fresh from the mixer is the way to go, and it gets you the prettiest result. I just did some little white ones on the side. You can make anything a flower if you put a center on it. So I just made some little brown dots, kind of like little berries, I guess. So, easy floral egg. Super cute. And next we are going to do an easy flower. I've got this cookie cutter that I found. I believe it was at either Walmart or TJ Maxx. I don't even know. My mom may have even given it to me, but it's a super simple little scalloped edge circle. So if you have a scalloped edge circle like this, or even just a circle, it doesn't even have to be scalloped. You could just do this with a circle. It wouldn't have quite as much of a guide, but that's okay. So we're just going to start by doing a big squeeze and then pull back. And you know what? You can do this with a plain old popping bag, and it's just cut straight across the top to make a circle. Super easy. You don't even have to have a piping tip, and you're just pulling this toward the center. I find that it's easier to keep the center in the center if you turn your cookie and go from the opposite direction and pull in. So you're just making these long petal shapes. Then I like to start from the other side and kind of do a midpoint and pull in. Then find another midpoint and pull in. And then repeat that process. Sometimes that makes it easier to make it even. I've seen a lot of cookie decorators on Instagram do that. It seems to work well for them. And it works really well for me. So we're just pulling in on all those petal shapes. And repeating that all around. I think this is the easiest flower. And by the way, this is thick consistency royal icing. So this is straight from the mixer. As soon as I got done mixing it, it's still really thick. I haven't added any water to it. And it is perfect for flowers, perfect for popping fine details and things like that. And now I am going to take my yellow, I think, and make a center for this. I could use green, but I think I'm just going to do yellow and do a few little dots in the center. It does have a petal tip on it, but I'm just going to kind of make dots with my petal tip. But you wouldn't even have to, have a petal tip or anything. You could just do thick yellow icing and make dots with whatever you have. Super simple daisy cookie. Easy to do. And because the icing is so thick and it hasn't had any water added, this should dry fairly quickly. So if you are maybe get a spurt of inspiration the morning of Easter or the day before Easter to take cookies to your family gathering or something, this is a good one to make. You could just make a bunch of different colors of these. Carol asks if that consistency is good for writing. So I have another video on my YouTube channel that is specifically about writing and writing with icing that you would love, Carol. And it has got some information about mixing your icing to consistency for writing. The piping or the thick consistency, I think, is just a bit too thick for writing. It doesn't always smooth out. Sometimes it shows the ridges. But my solution to that is using a toothpaste consistency icing. So it's really thick. It wouldn't be suitable for flooding, but it's got just a tiny bit of water added to it so that it still smooths out on the surface and doesn't show marks in the icing as you're popping. So it makes it really good for writing. I hope that answers your question. And I'll link that video. That way you have some more information about writing, or you can find it on my YouTube channel. It's one of the first ones. Next, we're going to make a bunny with a flower crown. So we're going to start just by icing our bunny. And I already had a little white bunny made from the other day when I had made some samples. And I just wanted to have something to do with it. So this is super simple. You don't need a whole lot of detail. Just flood that bunny. I didn't even do pink in the center of the ears or anything. I think just the simple white bunny face looks so cute. And something that I haven't really talked about before, but that I'm now realizing I probably didn't think about much when I started cookie decorating, I like to clean my scribe between each step. I usually keep a paper towel or a tea towel next to me so that I can clean my scribe tool after every step, and that just kind of keeps your cookies neat and the correct color, I think. Okay, so we have our white flooded bunny. I'm going to set it aside because to add the flower crown, we want to wait until that is almost completely dry. This one has had a few days to get dry, so I'm going to grab it. Here we go. And this is a perfect example of my put a flower on it theory. I had a little air bubble in this cookie and I don't love the way it looks. So I'm going to put a flower on it. Anytime you have a mistake, anytime there's a miswipe with the scribe or whatever you're doing, just pop a flower on top of it. It's fine. So I'm going to start with the same shape of leaves that I did earlier on that egg cookie. I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't think of the word egg for just a second, of all things. I'm going to make a few little leaves on either side. And I think I'm going to do a yellow flower on this. You could do any color. As long as you're using this thick consistency for creating flowers, anything's perfect. I've been loving these little sideways flowers that I've been seeing on Instagram where it's like, kind of looks like a bloom. And you do that by just laying down a little petal and then going over the top of it like that. So I'm going to do a couple of those little blooms. Maybe come out from one like that. Do a couple over here, over there, everywhere. And I'm also going to come in with some little peach dots as well, because I think that looks cute. To just have a little variety of color. And I'm going to pop a white dot into the center of a couple of them. And there is our bunny with a cute little flower crown. Okay, let's take a look at the full set. So here's our bunny with a flower crown. Here is our Easter egg with a fault line crack flower growing out of the middle that could also be bunny hands if you wanted to. A floral egg, super simple but adorable. We have carrots 3 ways. But y'all, I'm not actually eating carrots. I don't like carrots. I'm really not a fan of any vegetables. I mostly just like cookies and potatoes. Anyone else that way? That could be why my jeans don't fit. Cookies and potatoes. Steady diet. Very nutritious. We have our little bunny Bum Bum with its little cute feet that I love. We're making that one in our local Easter decorating class that I'm hosting here close to Florence at Watson House. Our buttercup, because spring is time for buttercups, can get so mad at me when we're going to church in the springtime because I holler every time I see buttercups coming up. I get so excited. They're beautiful, and it means springtime has come. Okay, and here is our other carrot that we sectioned, and we got those nice little defining lines, that pretty cookie puff. We also had an ombre carrot because it's Easter and we can't have enough carrots. This cookie is bending as I move it because I underbaked it so badly. I'm really looking forward to eating that one. I'm going to have it with my coffee in the morning probably, if we're being totally honest. I'm going to raise y'all up a bit so that you can see the full set. We also made this cute little geode egg, the ombre egg, and the super cute Easter basket on an egg. How cute are these, y'all? I feel like that would look pretty on any Easter table. And again, 12 designs is so not the norm for me. Normally, I would pick 3 or 4 and make a dozen of some combination of those 3 or 4 designs. I would never make 12 different designs. But these are just 12 ideas for some cute Easter cookies you could try. You could do a dozen flowers like this. And Easter baskets like this. You could do a dozen bunny cookies or any combination of these. You could do different eggs. I think it's really fun to decorate just some eggs and let the kids paint them. They really enjoy that. I let Miles and Noah paint egg cookies last year because eggs were a bit scarce last year. I don't know if y'all remember when the quarantine first started. I'm sure you do because I think it was that way everywhere. Eggs were scarce and we did not dye Easter eggs because we were eating those eggs and holding on to them. Elaine said super cute and fast. Thank you. And Carol said really cute. Thank you so much, Carol and Elaine. If y'all have any questions about cookie decorating, I would be happy to answer them. You can join the free Facebook group, Cookie Confidence, if you're not already there. I think a lot of us are already in Cookie Confidence because some of you are watching from there today. Yeah, so thank y'all for joining me today. Thank you for decorating with me and all your kind words and comments. I had a lot of fun making these cookies. I'm loving getting to get creative and make some new design ideas and new sets that hopefully will inspire you. Y'all have a great day. Happy early Easter, and thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.